Welcome back, everyone. I am extremely excited for today's episode. We have the co-founder of Found North Whiskey, Nick Taylor. Nick, welcome back, sir. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. No worries. So Nick, I will tell you, man, there's a ton of excitement out there. As soon as the notification went out regarding the lottery, people were going crazy. I mean, there's just a love for Found North Whiskey. So I'm excited to dive into everything Batch 10 related today.
Oh man, yeah, I'm excited as well. It's been fun launching this. It's been fun just seeing people be really excited about our whiskey. Is I don't know, man. It's exciting. It's really it's humbling, honestly. And I feel like that's such a cliche thing to say, but it's like if you told me, I don't know, 5-10 years ago that we would have a brand that is selling out so much that we have to do a lottery. I don't think I'd believe it.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. So Nick, keep me honest. I believe this is the first weeded expression since Batch 5, which was my gateway to Found North. That's when I fell in love with Found North. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah. So this is the first weeder we've done since Batch 5. It basically iterates off of the concept that we had with Batch 5 that we really loved. And essentially, our feeling has always been that with wheated bourbons, the wheat and the corn have to be the same age, right? It's a mash bill. But we've always felt like wheat shows really well at a younger age, not necessarily a young age, but at like 8 years, which is the components that we've worked with. You're getting a really lovely creaminess, a kind of an Irish butter note, a leatheriness to it, that as it ages more, the wood kind of tends to push those flavors aside. Meanwhile, corn does this really lovely thing from a texture standpoint as it peaks at 20 plus years. And so we always thought, well, what would happen if you blended an 8-year-old wheat with a 21-year-old corn, which is what we did with Batch 5, and we absolutely loved it. But we wanted to iterate off of that, and we wanted to sort of expand on that idea, try to make a better whiskey, frankly. And so with Batch 10, we adhered to the same sort of thesis in terms of 66% corn that is two 23-year-old corns and a 19-year-old corn, blended with 29% 8-year-old wheat. Which has basically been recast and further matured in New American Oak. But we added 5% component of malted barley. And that's new for us. We've actually never worked with malted barley at all.
Ever?
Yeah, no, it's been in our blends coincidentally when it's been like a small portion of a rye we're using or something along those lines. But this is the first time we've actually had casks of malted barley and said, these are going into one of the blends. We are actively taking the liquid out of these barley components and actually putting it in, as opposed to just sort of residual malted barley, which has been in some of our blends in the past. And so this was new for us, and it was really fun. It adds a textural component. It adds a sort of like semi-sweet chocolatey note and just a lot of grit to the palate. So it was a fun twist for sort of the follow up to Batch 5.
That's awesome, man. I would tell you, you're right about the chocolate note. I mean, normally when I nose a Found North product, there's such a pronounced like caramel, sugary kind of a note. But in this one, you still have all that, but you get like that chocolate leather kind of a note, which you didn't traditionally always get from a Found North product. But this is like really nice. I like the kind of like you kind of covered all different areas of the spectrum, if you will, from a nose standpoint.
Yes.
I like it. Very awesome. Nice. Well, I'm glad that you. Number one, the fact that you guys are always very transparent. I love the fact that you put, all the different components on the bottle because, I mean, honestly, from what you just mentioned, 2/3 of this is actually aged 19 to 23 years, where only a third, even less than a third, is actually only aged 8 years, which is a wheat. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad you guys did that. Thank you for the transparency.
Oh no, we're happy to tell people how much old corn we put in there, especially because old corn is expensive.
It is expensive.
No, I think I think for us, the age statement is a piece of the transparency. It's a piece of giving people the honest truth about what you're making and what's in it.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, like the 8-year wheat in this is, I think it's like 8 years and 11 months and change. This is yet another whiskey where we probably could have waited a few weeks and called it a 9-year. And there are obviously commercial benefits to doing that. But
absolutely,
honestly, like I kind of feel like people who are buying Batch 10, people who are buying Found North, you're probably, if you're buying an 8-year-old Canadian whiskey for $135, you've probably heard of Found North, and you probably trust that we're blending it well, and that the whiskey is more than just its age statement, and as some of all starts out, and granted, you know, most of what we release is usually 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. So
correct,
that helps as well.
It does. Well, I will say it's been a long day. I have a couple more questions, but I got to dive into this because the chocolate note is just like, it's crushing me. And it's like, please enjoy me. So, hey, cheers to Batch 10 and congratulations. Cheers.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. That's so at its core, Found North, but with like a chocolate little like bomb just kind of drizzled all over it. It's literally everything that you love about Found North with the additional notes of all the chocolate notes from that malted barley. I love that.
Oh, that's good. Nice. The malted barley was, we had the barrels, but we didn't know exactly what to do with them. And we've been working on Batch 10, not necessarily knowing it was going to be Batch 10, but we've been working on trying to create a new wheater really since we released Batch 5. So it's been a couple of years, and really every time we've sat down to blend the next batch, we've revisited where's the wheater at, and we'll play with it and we'll try it and we'll see what we can come up with the existing stocks as they've been aging. And every single time it was kind of like, nope, not ready yet, not ready yet, not ready yet, not ready yet. And this last time we had the malted barley and we were working on the wheater and we were like, yeah, it's getting there, and the wheat's just right, and the corn's really going, is bringing the sweetness and the things we're looking for. But it just didn't feel that different from Batch 5. You know, it was like, it was adjacent to it, but it just hadn't really done much differently. It was like the I don't know, the same side of the opposite side of the same coin kind of thing. And then we started fiddling with the barley, and it brought in that just chocolate bomb and the coffee and the thickness to it. And it was really, that's when we decided, this thing's definitely worth bottling.
It's a great combination because I remember Batch 5. Batch 5 was similar for the fact that like you had the caramel, you had a lot of like the baking spices that like wheat will kind of bring in a lot of times, like that soft element to it, if you will. But what's nice about Batch 10 is the chocolate note, the fact that you included malted barley for the first time in the mash bill. This is let's just say I did the lottery. As I know, everyone else out there did. A lot of subscribers reached out, patrons reached out. I lost myself. Thank goodness Mrs. Judge, my wife, won the lottery. So for everyone out there, congratulations. I have to tell you, Nick, you know, MSRP, keep me honest. I believe I saw this is $135. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
I think the fact that the majority of this is anywhere from 19 to 23 years old, you guys are only charging $135. Honestly, I hate to say it, but truly, it's a steal. It really is a steal. And thank you for not jacking up the price, which you could easily do, and everyone would still keep buying it. You guys are doing the right thing. So thank you from that standpoint. I mean, I don't know how you guys are doing that at $135 a bottle because, I mean, the age of this whiskey and the quality of it together, it's amazing, man. I don't know how you're doing it, but thank you, honestly. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Hey, I think for us, usually our pricing is based off of our production. So this actually, there were pieces of doing this that are really expensive. So whenever we recast anything, which we recast most of the components and have been aging them ourselves, it's not just the wood cost. The funny thing about the angel share is everybody always talks about the angel share and the devil's cut.
Correct.
The devil's cut happens first. So basically, like when you use new wood, we find that we lose 10 to 11% of the liquid in the first 6 months, and that's because it's really the wood is just filling up like a sponge, and then the angel share is actually much slower. And so if you go to Kentucky and they say, oh, it's 5% a year, well, really they're actually losing way more right off the bat and way less over time. And so when you do the things we do, where it's like, oh, you're taking an old component and recasting it, the second you recast it, it's just like, see you later, 10% of
goes quick,
which is pretty brutal. But no, I think we've been able to keep costs reasonable, and that's I think for us, the price gouging is something we're not going to do, and it's also something with the new lottery system that we've able to hopefully prevent more people who have no intention of drinking the whiskey. I'll just leave it at that. We weeded some of them out of there. We were able to get rid of a ton of bots, and that's nice, because we're hoping that people who are spending their money on it are going to crack it open and drink it, and not take bottles away from people who really want to open the product. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So keep me honest, like in terms of, so the lottery is over. This is coming out. Is it mid-October? I think it's coming out like very soon, like in the next week, right?
Yeah.
October 15th-ish, right?
Yeah, we're hopefully going to get bottles shipping out by mid-October at the latest, to people who won. Into markets, we did have some whiskey that's going into markets. That's a little bit harder for us to say exactly when, because we have wholesale partners, so they pick it up and then it's their responsibility to actually get it to retailers. So it's hard for us to say, oh, in Minnesota you're going to get it on this week or this date.
Makes sense.
But the cases are rolling out to distributors right now. So if you actually didn't win it in the lottery, that doesn't mean it's over. If you're dying for batch 10, we keep our store locator up to date as best we can, and with as much sort of account data as we can get from our partners. And so you can hopefully find it in one of those markets, especially. There are tough shipping laws, so we try to make more available in places where we were unable to ship through the lottery. We try to make a little bit more available in those markets.
That's awesome. Well, I will say your store locator is honestly spot on, because the stores around me, and I'm not even going to say where I live because I don't want people finding more of Foul North near me. No, I'm joking. No, I mean, seriously though, I live in like on the Delaware-Maryland line, and the store locator, when I plugged in my zip code, it told me the several different stores where Foul North is available.
Nice.
I've been to both of those stores before, and I've actually found your products in the store, and I bought them in the store. I mean, I was lucky enough this time to win the lottery, but your store locator is very accurate. So thank you for doing that for the public. That helps a lot, because a lot of people didn't win the lottery, and they might say, hey, my cousin lives here. I can ask him or her to go to the store and find it for me. So that's awesome, man. Very nice. Very nice.
Good.
This is cool. Very cool. So I have two last questions for you, Nick, because I mean, this is obviously... It's amazing, man. I'm so happy. I can't wait for everyone else to try this. So 2 questions for you. The first one is, every now and then, you guys like to do something called the second summit, where there's like a wine finish. I'm not saying you have to throw it out there. The answer might be yes. It might be no. It might be TBD. Is there any chance down the road we might see a batch 10 second summit?
Ooh, yeah. I we've been doing the second summits. We obviously came out with batch 6 second summit. That was the first one we ever did. That came out incredibly well, and we sold it sort of through our mailing list and as a mailing list only item. And even that was a couple of years ago. Even then, it sold out pretty quick, and we had a lot of sort of upset customers. We have way bigger market for Found North at this point. And so it's pretty hard for us to do like a a single barrel release that we release to the broader audience, because it just no one will get it. It's kind of like, hey, we made this great product, and
but you can't get it.
You get bottles, and
it's like, so hard.
And so that doesn't mean we're not doing the second summits, but we've been saving them for things like we've been saving them for things like special events. And I think part of the reason we've been doing that is, as a producer that doesn't have a distillery, doesn't have kind of like a location where people can go immerse themselves in Found North. We try to make other ways. We try to make other ways of connecting with the brand and connecting with us available to people. And so we try to get out there and do a lot of events, a lot of club events, a lot of the sort of better, bigger tastings and things like that. And our idea is, look, if you've taken the time to come find us at an event, we'd love to make something special available to you. So at the moment, that's how we've been thinking about distributing our second summits. Is you literally have to go to one of our special events.
That's awesome. I like that.
Which I think is a fun way to do it. That being said, with a batch 10 second summit, which will exist, there is a possibility that we do some sort of mailing list only thing where we make multiple second summits available at the same time, so that people are basically entering a lottery for multiple. And that way we'd have more bottles available. Still might not be enough, so I'm not exactly sure, to be honest, how we're going to release these things, but we are making them.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that at all. So I will say, Nick, I mean, honestly, at 123.8 proof, this sips so clean on the palate, like the beginning, mid, end of the palate. It's a great experience. Like, what I love about sharing Found North whiskey with friends is that it truly is an experience, because it's an exceptional whiskey. Like, my last question to you is, this is such a great product. What's one thing that you want people to think about when you think about Found North Batch 10? What do you think that is?
Ooh, yeah, I think when you think about Found North Batch 10, the thing that's important to me is when we're blending any of our blends, we care a lot about the flavors and the mouthfeel over the course of time. And what I mean by that is, like, when we do tasting notes, I feel like tasting notes all the time are this list of flavor notes. And that's useful and it's helpful, but the reality is that the organization of them, how they are experienced over the course of the landing, the palate, the finish, and even the resolve, even that flavor that comes back up after the finish, those things, that basically, that organization, that flavor over time is something that we're really cognizant of. And with batch 10, I think it's some of our best work in terms of, there are no dips. There's no, this thing doesn't fall off a cliff. It is really, really resonant and evolving over time on the palate. And more than just like trying to identify the exact tasting notes that are in there, my hope is that when people try our whiskeys, and in particular batch 10, that they experience the progression of the whiskey as it moves from landing to palate to finish.
I love that, Nick. I will say, I'm not gonna lie, this is hard, man. This might be one of my favorite expressions ever from Found North whiskey. So I'm so excited for everyone out there to have a chance to, sip and enjoy this. If not at like a restaurant, at a friend's house, or, there's obviously a lot of different like forums out there where you can try different, bottles of Found North whiskey. But folks, I'm telling you, when you have a chance to try this, it's so similar yet slightly different, because it does give you like that little chocolate, almost like a milk chocolate kind of a note, almost in a way. It's so unique, so different. Nick, I just want to say, honestly, on behalf of the whiskey community, cheers on making another wonderful kick-ass product. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks so much. Thanks for your time. Take care, my friend. Take care.
Appreciate it.